users administration. I'm sharing my notepad. Can you all see my notepad?
Yes, Dilip.
Is this notepad also the same issue? All
Everything is
right.
smaller.
Okay.
Yesterday it was wide and big. That's why. Like how come like today some settings it has to do something with the settings, I think.
Not really sure. Maybe something has changed in the setting. So users administration is the next topic. So in this topic, we are going to learn about managing the users, groups, roles in ServiceNow, right? So these are the three things that we are going to learn as part of users administration. So first, let's talk about users. So any application you take, okay? So if you want to use the services of the application, you should first log into the application, then you can utilize the services of it. Getting it? So for example, you wanted to use the services of Facebook. So first you need to create your login. Create your login. Enter. Uh, just log into your account and then start posting or do the messaging. So these are all the services of this application. Similarly, for utilizing services or for exploring the ServiceNow application, you need to have a login first. Okay, without login, you won't be able to do anything in the ServiceNow environment. So a user account should be present. So we are discussing about users. So user is can be defined as user is a record in the users table. So like I have access to this instance. Okay, I logged in with admin user ID. Likewise, whoever wants to log into this environment, their login or the account should be present in this environment. Okay, their user account should be present in this instance, I can say. So where all the user accounts are stored, so there's a table called users table. So table stores the records. So users table, so which stores all the user records here. Okay, all these user accounts will be able to log into this instance with their credentials. So generally any record, okay, not only user record, any record will be stored in a table in any of the application you take. Okay, so user accounts are stored in the user table in ServiceNow. So to talk about tables, tables store records data. Okay, so there will be many tables in ServiceNow which stores many records, different types of records. So user table, one of the table is users table, which stores users data. Incident table stores incident data or incident records. You can say user records data. Change request table stores change tickets or change records. So there are many tables within ServiceNow which stores records. So user table stores users data. So we need to understand about this users table now. So let me show you how does a table look like in general. So let us take, so this is an Excel. Okay, so it has rows and it has column headers. So each and every row can be considered as a record. So consider this Excel sheet as a table and each and every row you can consider as a record. So record, each and every record is stored in this particular sheet, which is considered as table here. So table stores records, and each and every column header here we call it as field. Okay, table fields. All these column headers can be considered as fields of the table. Now consider this as a users table. Consider this as a users table, and all these column headers are considered as user table fields. Okay, first name, last name, user ID, full name, phone number, department. These are all fields from the user table. Now each and every row here is nothing but a user record, a record related to a particular user account of a particular user. Getting it? So every table stores the records information in the same format. Okay, rows are considered as records, column headers are considered as table fields. So observe carefully here. From the application navigator, type users, scroll all the way down. Under users administration application menu, you see module as users. Click on this. It will navigate to all the user records here, right? So observe carefully here. This is similar to the Excel, where you can see each and every row here is nothing but a user record, and all the column headers are considered as table fields. These are all the fields from the user table. So you see on each and every record on the left you see an eye symbol icon. So you can click on this to open the record. Okay. So this is a user record specific to this user, Hemant Kumar. Likewise, you can check for any records, open them and check the data. Right. So we clicked on this profile option. So a logged in user can click on this profile to see the basic details of the user account. So now this view is the detailed view to see the user's information. So here in this view, we are not able to see the complete user's information. It is just giving us first name, last name, title, and email address details. Okay, but this view is called default view or detailed view, which gives the maximum information about the user, right? So for example, Hemant Kumar, what is the user ID? This is the user ID. First name, last name, title, meaning the designation of the user. Okay, location, from which location is working, and VIP, is this user is a VIP user or not? So currently it is unchecked. So if it is checked to true, then this user is a VIP user. Company, so for which company is basically working. Okay, department, so within the company which department is currently working, and email address. So here the official email address will be stored. For example, if you are working in the project and you open your user record, and you will see the official email address, the particular user record. And time zone, in which time zone the user is working. Is he working in the US time zone or European time zone, or right, which time zone he is basically working on? So time zone is selected here by default. Business phone number, meaning office phone number. Mobile phone number, the personal phone number. The picture of the user that can be uploaded here. And we'll talk about this option, password needs reset. Logged out. So for example, this user account can be logged, okay, so that this user won't be able to log into the environment. Sometimes, so if the user is entering the password incorrectly for multiple times, okay, his user account might go into the logged state. Okay, so this option, this field will be enabled to true if user is entering incorrect password for multiple times. So when this is logged out, so this user won't be able to log in again. So whenever you work in the project, especially in the support project, customers will come to you with number of issues. So if the issue is about user access, user is not able to log into the environment, first thing that you should check is open his user account, verify whether the logged out is true or not. If it is true, that is the reason because of which the user is not able to log into the environment. So unlock it, right? Uncheck this and save the user record. Getting it? Then inform the user to log in. So he should be able to log in. So logged out will log out the users from logging into the instance. Active meaning is an active user in the organization. Okay, and every user will have some reporting manager. So you can see the manager field here. The manager's information will be captured here. So Sai Krishna is the manager for this Hemant. So this is all dummy data. Okay, so when you work in the project and when you open your user record or any user's record, you will see the actual data of the user. Okay, who is the manager of the user, for which department he is working, for which company, which location, which time zone. All those details you can verify in the user record. And about this field, password needs reset. So generally, so sometimes you are supposed to reset your password because of any reasons. You'll be resetting your password or change the password. So if you are not able to change your password or reset the password by yourself, you can reach out to the help desk team. They will reset the password for your profile. Okay, so they will open your profile. They'll click on this button called set password. Click on this. Okay, so generate the password. Click on generate. So this is the password. So copy the password, save the password. So this way a password can be changed for the user. So whenever the password is changed, see here, this is some complex password, right? So now, so password is reset here. So I'm saving the password for this user. So whenever the password is resetted for the user, okay, so now user will be asked to log in with the new password, right? So this is a password. So the user can use this password to log in to the instance. So whenever he is logging in, okay, he'll be prompted to change the password. Okay, so this is not the password which he can use every time to log in. So he'll be asked to change the password. So the user will be prompted to change the password once he is logging in. So how that prompt comes up? Because there is a field here called password needs reset that is set to true. So user will be given an option to reset the password, okay, once he is logging in. So because of this field is enabled to true. If it is unchecked, then user will not be prompted to change the password. Getting it? So whenever the password is changed for the user, so this field will be set to true by default. Okay. Whenever this field is set to true, when user tries to log in with the resetted password, he'll be asked to reset the password, change the password. Okay. And he can use the changed password for the next time he's logging in. Getting it? So this is about the user account of a user. So we understood about the details, what all details can be present for a user account. And we'll talk about this related list in some time. Is this clear about the user account? So next we'll talk about methods of users creation in ServiceNow. So there are many ways that we can use to create user accounts in ServiceNow. So one is manually, other is through XML import. Is anyone working on the ServiceNow project currently?
No.
All right.
Earlier I worked.
Oh, you worked already on the
Yeah.
ServiceNow project.
Hmm.
All right. So through XML import, next is import user accounts or user records through import sets. Other is through LDAP integration. So these are the general methods for the user's creation. First is manual process. So manually you can create the user accounts. So if you want to create a user record for a user, okay, from the application navigator, type users here. So under users administration, click on users. You'll be navigated to the list view of all the users. So this is called list view, list of all the user accounts. So this view is called list view. And you can see a new button here. Click on this new button, right? And you can see an empty form opened here. You can enter the details for which user you want to create the user account. Enter the details here. Say for example, there is a new join in your project, right? So he's part of ServiceNow project. So his user account should be created in the user table. So you can simply open the users list view, click on new, and then enter the details of the user to create the account. Say for example, so first name is test, last name is engineer, test engineer. So user ID, test engineer, right? Title, say senior analyst. Okay, you can select the location, select the details. Okay, you should be able to select the details through this lookup. And email address, give the official email address, right? Some phone number, department. So based on this company, the department should be populated. So just leave it as it is. Select department, ServiceNow. Okay. Manager. Say for example, this user is the manager. Save. Okay. So I created the user account for this user, test engineer. You can see primary email address device created for test user. This information you can see after you create the user account. So next is you need to set the password for the user. So this is the user ID. So you need to set the password. Click on the set password button, generate, copy, copy the password, save the password. So you can see this field is set to true, right? So now, so this is the password and this is the user ID. Let me log out. So test.engineer password, right? Login. So now I'm prompted to change the password when I'm logging in for the first time. So that's because of this option, password needs reset. Getting it? So this is how it works. So let me get back to my login. It's asking me to change the password. Right. So log out. I'll log in with admin user ID. Right. So manually I created the user account on the user table. Right. So that is a manual process. So generally when you work in the project, there will be different environments: dev, test, stage, prod. So these are all the different environments you will be working on. So basically developers will have complete access to the dev instance, and test instance developers may or may not have complete access, and stage and prod, okay, mostly 99% developers will not have complete admin access here. So now, for example, take this scenario. So there is a new join in your project, okay, and the user's account will be created in the production instance. So manually, say for example, the user account is created in the production instance. So generally, the user accounts will be uh, synchronous across all the instances. Okay, so there should be consistency about the user accounts across all the instances. So whatever the user accounts present in prod, they should be present in stage, test, and dev. Okay, but ideally, the user accounts will be first created in the production. Okay, so the operations team, they will have access to the production. So they'll be creating the user accounts manually. Say one or two users manually, they can be created in the production. So those users records from production will be manually exported and imported into this dev, test, and stage environments. So just now we created test engineer user account, right? So test engineer user account will be created in the production, and the file, user account file, XML file will be exported from production, and that file will be imported to the all the lower environments. So dev test stage, they're all called lower environments. So to these environments, XML will be imported. So observe carefully. So go to the user accounts, right? So this is what the user account which we just created. Open it. Say for example, this is a user account I want to export. So simply right click on this gray color header, right click, export XML, XML this record. So the record will be exported into the XML file. So this XML file contains the complete record information, okay, of this user account. Now what I'm doing is I'm deleting this user account. Okay, I'm deleting it. So test engineer user account is deleted completely. Now I have an XML backup copy. So consider this scenario here. So I exported the file from the production. Now I want to import the file into all these environments. So for time being, I'll just import the file into this instance, okay, manually. Observe carefully. So navigate to this users list view. From the navigator, type users under user administration. Click on this users. So this is opening up the list view of the user records. So on each column, okay, on each column, right click any of the column, you can right click. You see an option called import XML. Click on this. So import the XML file which we downloaded. Import the file. You can see here the file is imported and you can see the account is created back, right? So this way you can create the user accounts through XML import. So from prod you will take the XML file, export it, and then you will import into the lower environments, dev test or stage. Getting it? So that is the second process. Everybody clear? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So third method, import user records through import sets. Okay. Say for example, I have user details. Okay. So bulk user accounts information, I have it in the Excel file like this. Okay. So some hundreds or 200s or thousands of user records are present in the Excel file like this. So I can import this Excel data into the ServiceNow users table. Okay, I can import that Excel file users data into the ServiceNow users table through a process called import sets. Okay, import sets is a process of importing external data into ServiceNow tables. Okay, so we have separate discussion for this import sets. We'll see how can we import this kind of data into the ServiceNow target tables. Okay, so we have separate topic for discussion in the upcoming classes. We'll do that. Other is LDAP integration. So generally in the organizations, okay, so the user accounts or the group accounts, everything is stored in a directory called active directory. Okay, active directory. So in this active directory, all all the users present in the organization, their data, user accounts data is stored in the active directory. Now, this active directory will be integrated with ServiceNow. Okay, so because ServiceNow access to be given for many users, maybe thousands of users. Okay, so if the organization size is large, so for each user we should be creating the user account. So it is difficult to manually create user accounts for all those users. So what can be done is, so the active directory which stores all the user accounts of the organization, those user accounts can be pulled in and locally stored in the ServiceNow users table through an integration. So ServiceNow will be integrated to Active Directory through an integration called LDAP integration. So through this integration, all the user accounts, group accounts from Active Directory will be pulled in and locally stored into the ServiceNow instance, and the user accounts will be pulled in and created in the users table in ServiceNow. So this is again a separate integration. Okay, so that's the high level of LDAP integration, but that will be considered as a mini project, one of the integrations, LDAP integration. Okay, so these are the different ways the user accounts can be created in the service now, right? So where all these user accounts are stored in ServiceNow, users table. So any table you take in ServiceNow, any table has two names. Okay, one is display name and other is system name. Correct. So any table. So for example, users table, it has two names. So one is users, that is a display name. So this is the display name, and system name, that is sys underscore user. So this is a backend name for the users table. So why display name? Display name is for humans to understand what is a table. Display name is for humans to understand what is a table. System name is for the ServiceNow system to understand. So whenever you are trying to write some script to call the user table, okay, you always need to call using the system name. Okay, whenever you write some script configuration on the user table and you're calling a user table, you're always supposed to refer the user table through system name. Not only user table, any table you refer, you always need to call the table with its system name but not the display name. Getting it? So this is how the table name can be denoted. So display name within square brackets, the system name. Okay, so for example, incident table. So this is an incident table, display name, and backend name is incident. Change request. Okay, so change request, this is the display name. So change underscore request. I think this is just change. Okay, getting it? So like this, all the tables will be denoted with two names. One of the important point here. So you need to remember the table names. So those table names will be asked in the certification. Okay, very short question in the certification. So one of the table name will be asked in the certification. So next we'll talk about groups. So generally in the organization there will be different teams, right? HR team, developers team, database team, ServiceNow team, .NET team. Getting it? There are different teams in the organization. Each and every team can be called as groups here. Group, team, support group, everything is same. Okay, group is nothing but a team. So group is a record in the groups table. So the table name is sys underscore user underscore group. This is the backend name. So group is a record in the groups table. So generally there are some features for the group. Okay, so group contains group members. Group contains group members, meaning a team contains team members. So group contains group members who share similar responsibilities. So for example, HR team in the organization, HR team contains group of HR members. So all the HR team members will have similar responsibilities. Their job is to handle the HR related activities like managing the payroll, managing the employee onboarding, employee offboarding, right? So these are the HR related activities. So HR team performs HR related activities. Take ServiceNow team. So ServiceNow team contains ServiceNow developers. Okay, group of developers, ServiceNow developers form to become a ServiceNow group. Now, all the ServiceNow developers will share similar responsibilities. Their job is to work on development side of the ServiceNow. They do not handle HR related activities, right? They do not handle audit related activities. Their job is to handle the ServiceNow development activities. All the group members of ServiceNow will have similar responsibilities. Likewise, HR team performs only HR related activities. They will not work on ServiceNow development. That is not their job. So all the group members within a group will share similar responsibilities. Okay. Every group contains, every group is managed by a group manager, right? Every team has a team manager. So same way here, every group is managed by a group manager. Every group contains or has a group distribution list email address. Anybody? What do you mean by distribution list? What's the meaning of distribution list? Any idea?
Is it a work distribution?
No. All right. So distribution list is nothing but an email address. Okay. A common email address for a group. For example, ServiceNow group. It will have some email address which is called group distribution list email address. And if you compose an email to that group distribution list, email will be delivered to all the group members of that group. Say for example, team in your project, and your team will have some group distribution list email address. Okay, so now leadership, they want to communicate some message to your group, to all the developers in your group. So do they compose email individually to all the uh, group members of the ServiceNow development group? Do the leadership know the email addresses of all the users? No, they do not know. So they'll just have the group email address, group distribution list email address. So the leadership will compose an email to the group distribution list email address. So all the users of that particular group will automatically receive the leadership communication. Correct. So group distribution list email address meaning there will be a common email address for the group. So any communication to be communicated to the group, that will be communicated to the group distribution list email address. So let us go to the group record. So type groups in the application navigator. Everybody following? Am I going too fast?
Yeah,
Right.
good.
So type groups in the application navigator and you see application menu, users administration, and then click on this model groups. So you can see all the group records in the environment. So these are all different teams. A1 engineer, A1 engineering team, analyst, app engine admins, architects, application development, billing support. These are all different teams, or we call them as groups. Let us open any of the group record. So this is a group record, A1 engineering team, and this group contains group members. You can see here at the bottom a related list called group members. Click on this. So you can see these are all the users part of this group, A1 engineering team, right? All these 8 members are part of this group. All these 8 members will share similar responsibilities of this group. Okay. Now this group is managed by a manager called group manager. So he is the manager. And this group has a group email address, or you can say group distribution email address. So abx@gmail.com. So this is the email address of this group. So if any communication to be sent to this group members, okay, an email can be sent to this group email address. So it is communicated to all these group members. Getting it? So now, for example, tomorrow a new joinee has joined in your project. So you want to add that new member into this group. So you can edit the group members list here. You see a button here called edit. Click on this. So it is navigated me to another screen, and this screen has two buckets, left and right buckets. So this is called slush bucket. Technical term, slush bucket. Okay. So slush bucket. So left side bucket contains all the list of user records. So these are all the user records. Okay, I can select any user from left. I can add them onto the right. So right side, these are all the 8 members. These are the members of this group. These are all the 8 members of this group. So if you want to edit the group members list, you can do it here. So if you want to add this user to this group, you can add it here. Select the user account from the left and then use this options add to add it to the group, right? So for example, I want to remove this user from the group. Okay, select and click on this remove so that users will be removed or added accordingly. Click on save. So this way we can edit the group members list of the group. Getting it? Very simple to understand. So So this is the display name. Sorry. So group is the display name, and table name is this. Backend system name of the table is this. From the URL as well, you can get the table name. Sys underscore user underscore group. So all these table names should be remembered. So they'll be asked in the certification, right? So next is roles. A role is a record in the roles table. So that is this display name. Backend name is, so backend system name is sys underscore user underscore role. So a role generally grants the privileges or permissions to access the application or resource in ServiceNow. Privileges or permissions to access the objects in ServiceNow. Objects meaning anything. It could be a record, it could be an application, okay? It could be a module, anything. So roles grant the permissions. Simple example. So last class we have seen, so I'm an admin role user. I have complete access to this instance. Now I'm trying to access the access controls, right? Access controls, and I want to edit this access control. Even though I have an admin role, I don't have access to edit this record. So what did I do yesterday to get the edit access? What did we do yesterday to get the
You
edit
change
access to the
into
access
dev
controls?
role. You
Sorry?
change you change the admin role to dev role or something. You have changed the
No,
role like from admin to different one.
no.
No, no. Admin is the one who is able to do all this.
Yeah, so I'm an admin role user, but still I don't have edit access to this access control. So yesterday we have done some steps to get the edit access to this access controls. What did we do?
Impersonate.
Impersonate is for testing, right?
Okay.
I want to get the edit access to this record. We did that yesterday. Anybody? So we elevated the privileges, right? So I elevated the privileges of mine with a role called security underscore admin, right? So this role is required to get the edit access to this access control records. So this will give me extra privileges. So this role is granting me edit access to the access controls. Now I elevated my privileges. Let me refresh this access control record. See here, I have the edit access now. Is that clear, guys? So this role is granting me edit access. So simple example. So I elevated my privilege to this role, and this role is granting me access, edit access to this access control. Now, if I come back to my normal login, I do not have privileges now, elevate privileges. So this role is removed for me. Now I don't have edit access to this particular access control. So roles will make the difference of accessibility. So roles can provide the permissions or privileges to access the objects. So this is an object now. Access control is an object, and now security underscore admin role is granting me access to this. So likewise, one more option, one more important example. So what is the role required to have this option here for any user? What is the role required for a user to get this option? Impersonate user.
Uh, elevate, impersonate.
Right, impersonator. That is a role required. Okay. So if a logged in user has that role, he'll have this option there. Okay. If a user doesn't have impersonator role, then this option will not be available for the user to impersonate. Getting it? So now impersonator role is making the difference here. So role is granting the privilege or permission to access this option. Clear? So roles generally provide the access to access an object within ServiceNow. Getting it? So we'll discuss in detail in the next class. Any questions? Any questions for today?